Commissioners Cavell.
Here.
Erickson Galt.
Here.
Gershenson.
Here.
Gingell. Hoffman.
Present.
Johnson.
Present.
Joliet. Here. Long.
Here.
Lubes.
Here.
Markham. Miller. Nelson.
Here.
Powell.
Here.
Rahman.
Present.
Smith Charles. Spiz.
Present.
Taylor.
Here.
Weipert.
Here.
Woodward.
Here.
Mr. Chair, you have a quorum.
Quorum's been established. Next up, we'll welcome Commissioner Michael Spiz to give the invocation, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you and good evening, everybody. I ask you please bow your head. Dear Lord, as we approach Memorial Day, I ask that you watch over all the families and friends that will be traveling to see loved ones over this weekend. I ask for your blessings for all those families that gave up the ultimate sacrifice to those so that we can be free. Please watch over all those in the military, police, and first responders as they continue to put themselves in harm's way so they can protect each and every one of us. Lord, we also ask for your protection of the most innocent and vulnerable, especially the children. I also ask you to welcome into your kingdom those that we lost over this last year. May you grant them eternal rest, O Lord, and may perpetual light shine upon them. Lord, please bless all elected officials with wisdom and guidance to do what is right and just for those that we serve. We look for you for the best way forward. In your name, amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Commissioner Spiz. Next up, we get approval of the minutes from our April 24th meeting. Is there a motion to approve the minutes? Moved by Commissioner Lubes, seconded by Commissioner Long. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of approving the minutes say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed say nay. Let the record reflect that the minutes were adopted unanimously. Next up is approval of the agenda. Is there a motion to move the agenda? Moved by Commissioner Taylor, seconded by Commissioner Smith Charles. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of approving the agenda as presented say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed say nay. Let the record reflect that the agenda has been approved unanimously. Next up is a special public hearing for fiscal year 2024, appropriation for the local road improvement program. This is a public hearing required under state law, particularly when allocating public county funds to support economic development projects. And I'm going to open the public hearing to speak to that appropriation. We as a county appropriate roughly $2 million a year, or make $2 million a year to be available to match with local communities for local road improvements. And this is the official public hearing required by statute. Is there anyone that would like to speak during that public hearing? Seeing none, I will close that public hearing. All right, we're gonna go once. Mr. Wheeler, do we have an ETA? Oh, okay. I'm going to bump our presentations because we do have a special visitor that's joining, and we obviously make accommodations for her very busy schedule. So if I could ask for the National Gun Violence Awareness Wear Orange Day proclamation, we'll start that because I got 5 minutes. Don't look here, it's a dressing room.
Okay, where is it? Is it up here?
Right there. And so. Commissioner Gershenson, well, who's gonna kick us off?
Good to see you.
Commissioner Tate.
I am.
Who's starting?
Oh, well, no, actually, we're going to read this, and then you'll join us.
So anybody that would like to join us to acknowledge National Gun Violence Awareness, Wear Orange Day, which is in June, but we wanted to be sure and do this so that we don't have a meeting till middle of June. So I'm excited. Commissioner Spiz, would you like to join me?
Sure, I don't know if I can read that. I don't have my glasses.
Oh, you don't? Do you
No.
have these?
Oh, those are a little too strong.
Okay, so whereas the call to honor and respect human life demands that we take action to reduce or eliminate preventable tragedies whenever possible.
Whereas the heartbreaking prevalence of gun violence in cities, villages, towns, schools, entertainment venues, and places of worship is seen as a public health crisis, especially as Americans are 26 times more likely to die by gun homicide than citizens in other high-income countries. And
Our children and teenagers bear much of the burden of this crisis. Gun violence has become the leading cause of death for Americans ages 1 to 19. The observation of the National Gun Violence Awareness Day arose directly from the senseless loss of 15-year-old Hadea Pendleton, an innocent bystander, who was shot and killed in Chicago just 1 week after performing at the events for the president's second inauguration. Here in Oakland County, we solemnly lift up the memories of Madison Baldwin, Tate Meyer, Hannah St. Juliana, and Justin Schilling, age 14 to 17, whose lives and futures were abruptly ended by a mass shooting at Oxford High School on November 30th, 2021. And your daughter was there. As well as 20-year-old Alexandria Alex Verner, a Clawson native, lost during the shooting at Michigan State University on February 23rd, 2023. Further, we hold on to the hope of the physical and mental recovery for the students and educators injured or traumatized by these unthinkable tragic events.
Right here.
Yep.
Whereas the emotional toll of nearly 1,400 Michiganders lost to guns every year is incalculable, sorry. But there is a significant measurable financial impact. Gun violence costs the state $16.8 billion annually, with more than $380 million of that paid by taxpayers. And I don't know which one. Okay.
Whereas the Second Amendment rights of law-abiding citizens are balanced with common sense measures recently signed into Michigan law that seek to bar firearm access by children, domestic abusers, and those who pose an extreme risk to themselves or others. And
whereas ahead of National Gun Violence Awareness Day, we honor the lives of gun violence victims and survivors. And we renew our commitment to reducing these occurrences. In addition, we encourage responsible gun ownership to help keep our families and communities safe.
All right. And therefore, David T. Woodward, Chair of the Oakland County Board of Commissioners, and the Oakland County Board of Commissioners in total do hereby proclaim Friday, June 7th as National Gun Violence Awareness Day in Oakland County. Further, we join with members of Moms Demand Action and Gun Sense in America, South Oakland, in inviting the community to wear orange, a color that symbolizes the value of human life and serves as a plea to not shoot and to raise awareness about this very important issue. Yes. And so as a representative.
All right. Thank you so much. Oh, that was such an impassioned and well-crafted statement, and we really appreciate it. My name is Diana Darland, and I am a member of Moms Demand Action for Gun Sense in America, the South Oakland County chapter. Thank you. I want to thank the Oakland County Board of Commissioners for proclaiming June 7th National Gun Violence Awareness, also known as Wear Orange Day in Oakland County. As the Wear Orange Proclamation highlighted, it is important to honor and remember all victims of gun violence and to do more to end this uniquely American epidemic, public health crisis. It bears repeating that Americans are 26 times more likely to die by gun homicide than people in other high-income countries. And tragically, gun violence is now the #1 leading cause of death for children and teens in the United States. As the tragic mass shootings in Oxford High School on November 30th, 2021, and Michigan State University on February 13th, 2023, tragically demonstrate, Michigan is far from immune from deadly gun violence. In fact, no one is. We are extremely grateful for Oakland County's commitment to combating gun violence, including Oakland County Prosecutor McDonald's Commission to Address Gun Violence and the Board of Commissioners' anti-violence initiatives, one of which was the Gun Buyback Program event that collected more than 350 weapons, 5 assault rifles among them. Moms Demand Action South Oakland County was happy to participate in that gun buyback program, and we look forward to joining you at any future events such as that. Members of our group work hard in Oakland County to stem the epidemic of gun violence through advocacy at the local and state levels, involvement with community-based violence prevention nonprofits, and public education about gun violence, gun safety, and secure storage measures. One program that we use that we call Be Smart is a framework for parents, caretakers, and community leaders to use to keep our kids safe through secure storage measures and open communication about guns and gun safety. We would be happy to make Be Smart presentations to the Board of Commissioners or in any public setting throughout the county. Please do let us know if you would like any more information on how we can work together to ensure that Oakland County is the wonderful and safe place to live that it is. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Take a picture? Yes. I would love, I wouldn't. Yes, thank you. June 15th. We'll put it on the calendar. Thank you.
Hey.
We're so grateful.
Great, thank you.
Thank you very much. That was beautiful. Good.
We're just going to recess for 2 seconds. 2 minutes. See if there's anything else that we can do. Everyone, we're going to take a couple minute break. I believe someone's arrived. We're going to jump to communications real quickly, and we'll take a motion to adopt the communications. There's the appointment to the Oakland County Historical Commission and a grant exception. But you can read them, yes. Thank you.
Okay. The first one dated May 22nd, 2024 to the Oakland County Board of Commissioners. I am hereby appointing the following individual to serve on the Oakland County Historical Commission for a 3-year term ending December 31st, 2026. Ronald Campbell. Your confirmation of this appointment is respectfully requested. Sincerely, David T. Woodward, Chairman, Oakland County Board of Commissioners. And the second communication this evening is also dated May 22nd, 2024, to the Oakland County Board of Commissioners. Please accept this letter as notification that I have exercised the authority granted to the chair of the board to approve grant applications in excess of $50,000 for the purposes of meeting a submission deadline. Due to the grantor deadlines and the board's grant submission process and calendar, it is not possible to submit the application for full board consideration in accordance with our normal procedures. I have authorized the submission of the following grant applications. The grant name is Fiscal Year 2024 Promoting Access to Crisis Teams, PACT, from the Sheriff's Department in the amount of $400,000, and the grant application deadline is May 21st, 2024. Sincerely, David T. Woodward, Chair, Oakland County Board of Commissioners.
All right, great.
Oh, should I add, this application was considered with an affirmative vote by the Public Health and Safety Committee, sorry.
Right, yes. I mean, the grant exception went through the committee process, and so before us today, is there a motion to receive the communications? Moved by Hoffman, seconded by Lubes. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of approving the communication say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed say nay. Let the record reflect that the communication is received unanimously. I'll move back to presentations. And we are very fortunate this evening to welcome a special guest, no stranger to Oakland County, our Michigan Secretary of State, Jocelyn Benson, to give an update on all the activities of the office and the leadership that she's been able to provide to improve the life, not just here in Oakland County, but across the state. And so without any further ado, I'm going to bring you right up to the podium here. And if staff can make sure that they, hey, welcome.
Hi, everyone. Thank you. Thank you very much. Well, I appreciate, thank you for having me here tonight. I'm here to, thank you. I'm here to give you an update on our office and the work that we're doing to ensure government is accessible for everyone, and also talk about the work that we're doing to prepare alongside your great county clerk and the professionals you've got working in every location in Oakland County to prepare for our November 2024 election, and the role we hope all of you can play as local leaders in ensuring that we are ready. But first, as you know, we take very seriously our responsibility to serve the people of Michigan effectively and efficiently. And because of that, we've really reformed how we deliver services. We've, eliminated the long lines that used to be prevalent in our states, everywhere you went, in our state Secretary of State's offices, and instead moved more services online, opened some self-service stations, 24 in Oakland County, and also ensured that through our new model of management in our branch offices, not so new anymore, but certainly through this model, we've been able to guarantee that people are able to get in and out and on with their day in 20 minutes or less, oftentimes much less. So I'm really proud of that, but in addition to that, we continue to try to improve. I actually have an office in our department called the Office of Continuous Improvement, which is consistently looking at data to evaluate what we can do better. And one of the things we discovered, I'm going to talk about two quick things and then I'll move to elections. One of the things we discovered is that the legislature has recently passed legislation in the last few years to enable more drivers to restore their licenses. But unless you're actually helping drivers restore their licenses, the restoration legislation doesn't actually manifest the effects that our lawmakers wanted. And so as a result of that, we have created what we call Road to Restoration clinics. And I say this tonight because we want to know if there are places around Oakland County where you would like us to bring these clinics. We have a few coming up. They're all across the state. Our upcoming ones are in Muskegon, Flint, Detroit, and Marquette. We just had one. We had one a few years ago in Pontiac that assisted 75 attendees in restoring their licenses. Since March of 2022, when we began this program, we have served 8,000 residents to restore their licenses, but we've got many more that we hope to serve. And so with partnerships with local foundations, we've been able to expand this program. And we have a few mini clinics scheduled over the next few months. But if you'd like to partner with us to bring a clinic to your constituency or your district, we'd love to do that. I think we'd love to come back to Pontiac and a number of other places as well. So that's the first thing I wanted to bring to your attention. And the second are our mobile branch offices. So think of this as like a food truck, but a mobile branch office. All the services that you get in going to a physical branch office, you get in these mobile offices. And we now have 7 mobile branches all across the state of Michigan, one just dedicated to the Upper Peninsula, one dedicated to serving northern Michigan, and 2 dedicated to serving southeast Michigan. So I share this with you because we go to many of the places we go to are senior centers, serving senior citizens who have difficulty getting to our traditional branch offices. But we also serve residents who are homeless or housing insecure, youth in foster care, and other places where people may have specific challenges that limit their mobility or ability to get to a branch office. So I say that as well, because if you have libraries or festivals or fairs or senior centers in your districts where you'd like us to bring a mobile branch, we'd love to do so. Again, we have 2 just dedicated to serving Oakland, Wayne, and Macomb counties. So it pretty much ensures that whenever you want us to show up somewhere, we can. And that we see as our duty, meeting people where they are and delivering state services. We've got 2 events coming up with our mobile branches, one at Meadowbrook Commons Senior Living Center in Novi on May 30th, and another at the Villages of Holly Woodlands Apartments in Holly on June 12th. But in addition to that, you can see the full schedule at michigan.gov/SOS mobile. And you can also let Hester Wheeler or I know if you'd like a mobile branch to come to any place in your district, but you could also fill out a form right there and request one to get on the schedule. But please flag it for us if you do so that we can make sure we get there. So those are our 2 customer service updates that I wanted to make sure you knew about. And now I want to turn briefly to talk about our preparations for the fall. We know there's 2 statewide elections coming up, and I will tell you as we go around the state, I've been talking to all county representatives in many of our counties. Of all the counties that we're working with, and we're working with all 83, I'm least concerned about Oakland County because of your great leadership here, and Lisa and Fred know this as well as Joe Roselle. We're in frequent contact with your clerks here and working with them closely, but you're in good hands here in Oakland County, and it makes our lives a lot easier to have such strong, professional, competent clerks serving in Oakland County and across the state. But that said, wanted to, of course, make sure you knew about our 2 upcoming statewide elections, both of which will see at least 9 days of early voting here in Oakland County and all across the state. Yay, early voting. Thanks, Commissioner Cavell. The other thing I want to equip you with tonight, we know you're going to get a lot of questions from residents in the next 5 months about our elections. And so we want to equip you with some information on how to respond to those questions. First, your one-stop shop for everything you need with regards to voting in Michigan can be found at michigan.gov/vote. There, folks can register or update their voter information. They can check to make sure they're registered. They can request a ballot to be mailed to their house so that they can vote from home or from any place of their choosing, and then return it either through the mail with a postage paid, return it at a local drop box, which they can also find the location of at michigan.gov/vote, or return it, of course, in person at an early voting center or at their clerk's office. They can view their sample ballot and find information on how to contact their local clerk, all at michigan.gov/vote. But in addition to that, we know that there's a lot of new aspects to voting this year, and people are going to have a lot of specific questions. Happy to make sure in connection with our office that you have those answers, but we want to make sure you know of this resource at michigan.gov/vote, where we, among other things, have a very detailed website page that details everything we do to ensure when someone becomes deceased or otherwise is ineligible to vote that they get removed from the list. We also detail the work we do to make sure that non-citizens or anyone other than an eligible voter is not participating in our elections, and what we do to ensure the law is followed all across the board. You're going to hear a lot of misinformation over the next few months, and we want you to be able to answer the questions with facts that you receive. And michigan.gov/vote is your opportunity to always get information. And if you ever see, we even have a website, a link on that website that just goes through a number of myths out there and responds with the facts. So that can equip you to be able to respond similarly with factual information when you get questions. Of course, we want you to know about all the changes to our elections, many of which you already know about because you've been on the ballot yourselves. We've got automatic voter registration, the ability to register to vote up to and on Election Day itself, and of course the right to vote from home or no reason absentee voting. This year, we have the 9 days of early in-person voting, as well as prepaid postage for all mail-in ballots. Ballot tracking information at michigan.gov/vote. If you want to be able to track your ballot, request and return. And we've also installed, in partnership with our clerks around the state, secure absentee ballot drop boxes. Those are monitored, they are secure, they are checked daily, and I'm grateful for all the clerks who've taken seriously the importance to ensure the security of these drop boxes, as well as our friends in law enforcement who work to protect the security of those drop boxes and our election officials as well. Also notable this year is that it is legal to transport or drive people to the polls. So you and others have the opportunity to organize or encourage voter transportation to the polls, either for early voting and on Election Day. And for early voting in particular, it's important to note that we're talking about 2 Saturdays and 2 Sundays and a whole week in between before each of our statewide elections, where people can vote just as they would on Election Day. And if they need rides to the polls, individuals and organizations are allowed to provide those rides. And then other thing new this year that you may get questions about is pre-registration for 16 and 17-year-olds. My team and I have been hosting mock elections in middle school and high schools all across the state. Just yesterday we were in Battle Creek. We hope to do one in Pontiac soon, and many other. We've done one in Farmington Hills and other parts around Oakland County and other parts around the state. There, we actually talk to 16 and 17-year-olds so that they know they can pre-register. That doesn't mean they can vote. In fact, they're very clearly barred from voting, both in our voter file and in the law. But it does enter them into the list so that once they turn 18, they are able to and automatically register to vote. If there are any high schools in your districts where you'd like us to host a mock election, we're happy to do so and schedule that in the fall. But we also, in August, will be providing your own kind of plug and play mock election if you wanted to do one, or if anyone else wanted to do one in Oakland County. So it doesn't just have to be from our office. We can give you all the tools if you or any resident would like to host one as well. That's our way of really trying to connect with young people and ensuring that they know their opportunity to pre-register and participate and take seriously their role as those who will inherit our democracy. The last thing I'll just say is our voter confidence councils have been in place and are in place all across the state. We have folks here in Oakland County and statewide, labor leaders, faith leaders, business leaders, community leaders, and educational leaders all coming together in a nonpartisan way to become experts in elections so that they can develop creative ways to inform citizens that look to them as trustworthy voices about the truth of our elections. And in that regard, we know misinformation is going to be the biggest threat to election security this year. We're already seeing it, particularly from international bad actors who have been attempting to confuse citizens, attack the integrity of election officials as a way of causing citizens to lose faith in their voice, in their vote, and in our elections. Our elections continue to be among the most secure in the country. Voter fraud continues to be minuscule, if happening at all, and when it does, we catch it and we prosecute and hold people accountable. But there is going to be a lot of misinformation designed to cause people to lose faith in the accuracy of our elections, despite the fact that our elections and our post-election audits consistently ensure the accuracy of our elections. So recognizing that, we want to prepare all of our citizens, no matter who they may be voting for or where they live, to be critical consumers of information and ensure that, in particular with advanced artificial intelligence technology or deepfakes that are aimed to deceive citizens, that they know how to reject that information and spread trusted sources of information. So I hope all of you can, and those of you here in the audience tonight, can join us in only spreading truthful information around our elections, become a trusted source of accurate information, and also let us know what you're hearing so that we can equip you to respond to things you're hearing with the truth. We always encourage citizens who have questions that can't be or aren't addressed by a conversation to also consider serving as election workers. And I know Clerk Brown does a great job training our election workers, but that gives them an opportunity to see firsthand just how many secure protocols and layers are in place to protect our elections. And as I mentioned, it's also open to you to host mock elections at local schools in partnership with our office or on your own. And we will be releasing a module and a toolkit that you can just take from our website and utilize to host your own mock elections in any high school you want or partner with us. So we've got a lot of opportunities in the months ahead to cut through the noise and ensure every citizen knows the rules for voting and has faith in our process. And we hope you can be a partner in that. And certainly, even if you don't work with our office, there are many other entities like factcheck.org and RumorGuard that can help inform you of the truth, bust some myths, and ensure only truthful information, and mostly truthful information is getting to our voters. The last thing I'll mention is something we just announced yesterday, which is our I Voted sticker contest. It's the first time ever Michigan will be hosting a contest like this, where we're inviting individuals all across our state to design stickers that clerks will have the option of using for their I Voted stickers that they hand out when people vote. We have 3 categories, K through 8, grades K through 8, high school, and then 1 general category open to all Michiganders. We're collecting designs and finalists will be selected via online voting throughout July, and the winning stickers will be available for clerks if they'd like to use them in the November election. You can go to michigan.gov/IVotedSticker for more information and for more details. Thank you. Again, I want to give a shout out to my senior advisor, Hester Wheeler, who's also here tonight, along with my son, Aiden Friedrichs, who is happy to be here as well. But thank you for having me tonight, and thank you for the work you do in service of the citizens of this county and of Michigan. And thank you, Chair, for letting me have the floor.
Thank you very much. Again, I mean, the partnership with Oakland County, the Secretary of State's office has been great, and I know that our elections is incredibly interested under our clerk, Lisa Brown, and our director of elections. I like Oakland County likes to lead the charge, and I think we might have been among the first to start with early voting. I mean, around the state, and prove that it works. And more and more people are taking advantage of it. So thank you for implementing this. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, guys.
Right.
Thank you very much.
Right.
Thanks for having me.
Okay. So now we're going to jump back to presentation B, the Outstanding Older Adult Award. So if commissioners, if you can stand ready. Yeah, you can start coming up. So we are recognizing some incredible citizens that make Oakland County the great place to be. The Board of Commissioners began recognizing the Oakland County Outstanding Older Award in 2022 and honoring the legacy of service to communities. Each year during the Older Americans Month, which we are in, individuals are nominated by commissioners to identify leaders in their community age 60 and up who consistently go above the call of duty to demonstrate passion for their community and volunteerism and commitment to community service. And tonight we're proud to be honoring a number of individuals who span 8 Oakland County communities, and all of these residents together represent that age truly only is a number and that you can make a difference at every stage of life. We'll start off this presentation with Commissioner Angela Powell, who's honoring Claudia Buckley. So we'll start with that, and then, Commissioner's going to hand it off after that.
Okay, are we to have them come up here now, or we're gonna do one, then we can
Why don't we bring- yes,
excuse
yes.
us, or we all gonna stay up here, or are they gonna stay up here?
Why don't we do it this way? Why don't we have individuals come up with each commissioner, and then we're going to come back up and do like one big group photo.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay. Good evening, everyone. My name is Angela Powell. I'm the District that I govern is the city of Pontiac and portions of Bloomfield Township. So today, I have the opportunity to introduce you all to Claudia Buckley. Ms. Claudia Buckley of Pontiac is my Outstanding Older Adult Award recipient this year. I first met Ms. Claudia, or Mama Claudia, as I call her. Oh, I'm sorry, yeah, come on. This is my Mama Claudia. I met her in 2018, and since then I have gotten to learn and know Mama Claudia. She is a strong Black woman who is living proof to never give up, even if things are rough, and always staying strong. That's why she has chosen to also mentor women like myself, holding us accountable by being very supportive and encouraging us to give our best. However, as a single mother, her life has had its challenges, but she has prevailed. She kept full-time employment as a career/professional development specialist and took care of both her parents. She continues to support her family and friends, and also one huge thing that she does is she contributes a lot of time volunteering and helping our Pontiac senior community. I have witnessed this woman stand up for seniors and make sure that their needs are addressed in our city. Oh, and she better not have to follow up with you. So my best advice is to make sure you get it done. I have always told her that her presence, her personality, and her fashionable style always graces the entire room. So thank you, Mama Claudia, for always keeping it real and willing to be a helping hand for our senior community. So thank you so much. You don't get to say something? Oh, you want to say something? Oh, she said she don't want to say nothing. Okay.
It's shown in my work.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. So that's Mama Claudia, y'all.
Thank you. Next up, we have the Honorable Kristen Nelson.
Thank you, Commissioner Woodward. I'd like to recognize Renee and Paul Dalmans, wife and husband duo from the city of Keego Harbor. They are unfortunately not here this evening. However, I had the honor last weekend to recognize Renee and Paul for their passion, commitment, and selflessly tending to the needs of not only their neighborhood, but the overall community. From beautifying and maintaining our community garden spaces to tending to the needs of elderly neighbors and veterans, Renee and Paul serve as a shining example of inspiring unity across our communities. So thank you.
Next up, we got to Commissioner Yolanda Smith-Charles. Yes. I can do it. I can do it. I can do it.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have the distinct honor of recognizing a fabulous woman representing Lathrop Village that happens to also be in District 17. That's no one other than Loretta Deloach. Loretta couldn't be here this evening. However, I do want to mention just a couple of quick facts. First off, Loretta's lived in the city of Lathrop Village for 43 years. She's a dedicated and active volunteer in the community, and I met her at the Lathrop Village Women's Club at one of their outreach activities. She volunteers with Goodfellows, Forgotten Harvest, Meals on Wheels, and is a community representative for the Lathrop Village Parks and Recreation. She's a member of Hope United Methodist in Southfield. She's also a certified fashionista. I'm so sorry you all were not able to see her today because she would have been fabulous and she would have had on heels higher than any of us. Loretta has faced many challenges though in her life, and though she has turned her faith turn to her faith to get through that. She also doesn't let her age define her. When I first met her, again, in these like stilettos, in this sleek little green dress, she says she's 9 plus 0. That is how she refers to her age. She does not allow you to say 90. She is 9 plus 0, and I just thought she was amazing and definitely wanted to take a moment and recognize her, District 17 in Lathrop Village. Thank you.
All right, up next, recognizing all this incredible talent across Oakland County, the Honorable Commissioner Lenny Taylor.
Thank you. Good evening. Tonight, I have the pleasure of recognizing Harmon Gunther. I am the representative for District 18. He lives in Southfield. Harmon is making his way up. Harmon has been a resident of Cranbrook Village subdivision since 1985, and soon after moving began attending board meetings on Cranbrook Village Homeowners Association and became its president in 1998. During his tenure, Harmon grew the board from 3 members to 6. He is currently the president emeritus and keeps members updated on the Southfield City Council and Oakland County News through his popular Harmon's Corner feature of the association's website. He is also an active attendant at Southfield school board meetings and served on the neighborhood patrol. Harmon also gives back to the community through his work on Southfield's Total Living Commission, which promotes the excellence of Southfield as a desirable place to live, work, and raise and educate a family. The commission judges Southfield Photo Prize and Committee Prize Award competitions that recognize photos submitted by residents, homeowners associations, businesses, and more that showcase the city and beautification efforts. Harmon also served on the city's Commission on Senior Adults and has been honored by the Southfield Mayor, Kenton Syver, with an Extra Mile Award and proclamation. Tonight I present to you Harmon Gunther.
Thank you. It seems like I'm the only recipient of this award to stand up and talk. As president of my homeowners association, I was very aware that it takes a team to head an organization. I'd like to point out my co-workers, Pat Beck, Tom Euchre, Mike Kelly, and Pete Shand, who have helped me run this organization. I might have had the final word on decisions, but they were the workforce behind them, especially Pat Beck, who had a dual job of maintenance chairman and treasurer. So I thank you very much for this honor. I'm glad to serve the city of Southfield. Thank you. It's okay. There's a group for right here, Harmon. Want to come up front?
Yolanda Smith Charles is joining us as well. She's a part of Southfield, District 17.
That's my wife in there who stuck through me to a second thing. Okay. Thank you.
And next up, we have the Honorable Commissioner Michael Spitz.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I am here to give honor to Mr. Kip Kriegel. If you could come up here, please. Kip has I'll let you turn around with your smiling face so everybody can see it. Kip has been a resident of Oxford Township for nearly a quarter of a century and has volunteered extensively for many years. His experience and natural leadership led him to being named as a volunteer supervisor of the Oxford Township Parks and Rec Senior Center 5 years ago. During this time, Kip has made great progress in creating a community of participants and volunteers that enjoy activities, volunteering, and camaraderie. People of all ages turn out for the fitness and recreation activities he hosts, such as Stroll Through Seymour, Cornhole, Senior Bicycling Club, and Community Garden volunteers. No pickleball?
Pickleball's in there.
All right.
Very popular.
I add that to the list, pickleball. The personal touches he adds to the activities like nutritious snacks and educational notes creates a casual and fun atmosphere for the participants. Kip is committed to championing the Oxford Township Parks and Rec Seniors, Community Garden, Pollyant Trail, and Meals on Wheels. He is a highly effective liaison with the Oxford community, and we all are appreciative and supportive of all his efforts. So thank you for all you do, Kip.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. I'll let you say a few words.
Thank you. Well, thank you very much. I'd also like to share this with my wife because she participates and supports all the activities we're involved with. So Barb, why don't you come up and share with the recognition. We're very fortunate in Oxford to have a senior center that was built in 2019. Since its beginning, it's turned into 9 to 5 every day, and many days well into the evening to 10, 11 o'clock at night. It serves many of the activities. It's ongoing, many fundraiser programs in the community. So we're very fortunate to have a very active and supportive Parks and Recreation Department. Thank you.
I don't deserve this because I whine all the time. The squeaky wheel.
Thank you very much.
And our next awardee will be presented by the Honorable Penny Lubes.
Thank you. I would like to invite Greg Kucera to come up and join me. Yay! I've known Greg for many, many years, and he's a longtime volunteer in Clawson, born and raised in Clawson, with the exception of your military time. Greg served 6 years on our Zoning Board of Appeals before being elected on Clawson City Council. For 4 years, he was then appointed to the Planning Commission, which he currently chairs and has served on for the last 8 years. He's devoted countless hours to the Clawson Lions Club, holding various offices throughout the years, including president and vice president. To support the organization's mission, he's done everything from building several handicap ramps to working on the signature Down on Main Street charity car show. That event draws thousands of people to Clawson and is the centerpiece of the Clawson Lions Club year-long fundraising efforts that benefit other charities. He works a dime toss game on the 4th of July. He's a road marshal for 5K runs. Where you can find an event, you'll find Greg. His experience, wisdom, knowledge, and willingness to help others is very much appreciated and evident as a priority in your life. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you,
Congratulations. Next up, I'd like to call our Vice Chair of the Board, the Honorable Marcia Gershenson.
Thank you. I'm very excited to introduce my nominee tonight, someone who was really reluctant to accept this honor and to get any attention, and he does incredible work in the community and the Chaldean community, and I felt he was definitely worthy of this honor. So would you please join me, Mr. Noma? Mr. Noma was born in Baghdad, Iraq, and after earning a bachelor's degree from the Jesuit University, came to the U.S. to pursue a scholarship from the University of Rhode Island. There, he earned a master's degree in civil engineering, specializing in soils and foundations. But when you were still in Iraq, you took an exam in your community and scored the number one, right? Yeah, that didn't make it. It didn't make it. In 1970, he moved to Detroit and later helped found the Chaldean Chamber of Commerce and the Chaldean Community Foundation, which we all know is extremely successful today. It serves about 50,000 people a year, 20% of whom are not Chaldean. The foundation's goal is to help refugees and immigrants and strengthen the connections of the Chaldean community with local organizations. He also serves on the committee for the foundation's Sterling Heights Van Dyke Housing Project, which includes 135 attainable, affordable apartments, a central courtyard, and retail space. And if you've never visited the foundation in Sterling Heights, I highly recommend it. David has spent his life working to combat poverty and discrimination and providing education to the poor. He sincerely cares about the environment and treating people with equality and justice, and has spent his life implementing those ideals. It is my honor to recognize Mr. David Nona for a life of dedication and contribution to our community.
Well, thank you very much, Commissioner Gershenson and all the commission members for the honor of having this award. Truly grateful for receiving it and being part of this wonderful Oakland County community.
Oh, well,
Thank
we're great.
you.
We're lucky to have you. And let's introduce your family.
Well, that's my wife, Holly, my son, Paul, who's a cardiologist, and my other son, Matthew, who's a dentist.
All right, all right. So do you want to have them join us in the picture or just you and me?
It's up to you.
All right, we'll take a picture then. We'd love to have a family.
Thank you very much.
Oh, please. Thank you for the work that you do.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Good to see you. And last but not least, the Honorable Gwen Markham will present our last award for this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm very pleased tonight to announce my nominee, who is Karen Zazinski. I represent Novi, Northville, and Farmington Hills, and Karen has been extremely active in both Novi and Northville for many, many years. She served the greater Novi community with increased dedication since she retired from a career as an educator, and she joined the American Association of University Women Novi Northville chapter. It's our local branch of the AAUW, with the mission of supporting women and girls through advocacy, education, philanthropy, and research. Karen has led many of the organization's initiatives, including as chair of their Financial Development Committee and the Fashion Designers Showcase. The Fashion Designers Showcase is a very successful fundraiser that they hold every other year. It features local women designers and also local women-owned businesses such as Rebel Nell that I know is going to be doing the jewelry for the Detroit Zoo. They get all of those local vendors to come as well and support women. And by doing that, they're able to raise funds for high school scholarships, community projects, and STEAM-focused career days for middle schoolers. Karen served 2 years as the Public Policy Director for the state AAUW and was elected to a 2-year term as our membership vice president and currently serves as the local chapter president. She also worked for several years on the Remember the Ladies program, which donated books and other materials about women in history to elementary school libraries. This program also facilitated events during March's Reading Month. Karen's a life member and former president of the Wayne County MEA, which is affiliated with the state MEA, and she's a longtime member of the City of Novi Parks and Recreation Commission, where she has advocated for expansion of parks, trails, and green space. She could not be here tonight. Thank you.
I mean, this is just a snapshot of all the wonderful older adults that make Oakland County such a great place. If we could ask all the awardees and commissioners to come up for one more group photo. Right? Yes. So if awardees can come back up for... Right, go ahead. And other commissioners are certainly welcome. Exercise and organization. Yes. No, you'll work. No, you don't need that. You block it. You always block it.
Do we get copies of the picture?
Yeah.
Now you're all famous.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now you're famous.
I know it can be tough sometimes.
After you, sir. Thank you a lot. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Everything. Thank you so much. Hi. Good to see you. You too.
We're just going to take a couple minutes and let people get back to their seats, and then we will resume our next presentation. Good. Okay.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
All right. Another round of applause for our older adult award recipients this evening. Thank you for all that you continue to do to make our county great. Our next presentation is going to be delivered by our team at the Oakland Community Health Network. Dana Lazenby is here, the CEO. Dana's no stranger to many of us here, but for those in the audience and those watching at home, Dana is the CEO of our Oakland County Mental Health Authority. We have an incredible track record of innovative partnerships, and we are very appreciative of these regular updates about not only what OCHN is doing, but also informing the public about the available programs that are so necessary to keep everything great. So Dana, thank you very much for being here again this evening.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Good evening, everybody. I will give a quick quarterly report, but tonight I just really wanted to focus on how we prioritize our crisis continuum in Oakland County. Oh, I pushed the wrong button. Sorry about that. So Oakland County Community Health Network with our Commissioner Chair Woodward did an excellent job of describing. We're the community-based local public mental health system that manages specialty supports and services for individuals with mental illness, individuals with emotional disturbances like our children, intellectual and developmental disabilities, infant mental health, and substance use disorder. So we're the public mental health system, which means we primarily serve individuals with Medicaid or those who are uninsured or underinsured. But we have no wrong door. And so if individuals request services that do have commercial or private insurance, we also try to link them to those services and resources as well. We serve over 29,000 people a year, and that number continues to grow. One of the things that we noticed with the pandemic, or post-pandemic, I hope, is that the good thing is that people are talking about mental health. They're talking about substance use disorder, and people are needing those services, and they're actually coming to get those services. So if there's anything positive about the pandemic, that is one thing that people are recognizing the importance of taking care of their mental health. As a prepaid inpatient health plan, we are contracted with the state of Michigan to provide these services. And it includes funding of more than 200 service providers for behavioral health, opiate use disorder, substance use disorder, and our substance use disorder health homes, and our CCBHCs, which are certified community behavioral health clinics, which really is an innovative way to serve individuals. We traditionally serve individuals who have more severe illnesses. With the CCBHCs, we're able to serve individuals with mild to moderate conditions, which does allow us to do a lot of prevention and early intervention work. So we provide clinical practice. We look at service contracts, we manage those contracts, we collect all the data and information that goes to the state for reporting and billing and funding purposes. We provide the customer service, we authorize and look at service utilization, and we also oversee the budget. As a community mental health special service provider, we're the safety net. We take care of the most vulnerable citizens in this community. We also have a lot of community collaboration, which I'll go into a little later. We also coordinate care with our hospital system so that if anybody needs inpatient level of service, that we are the ones that authorize and make sure that the service is provided. We have multiple justice initiatives, and my interim COO, Trish Zimbo, is over there, and she has been an amazing leader when it comes to our justice initiatives. Our youth and family focus programs and school partnerships would not be possible without the collaboration and the partnership and support of Oakland County Board of Commissioners, so thank you very much for that, and also with the county exec. With those partnerships, we've been able to expand services and access with our school mental health navigators, but also making sure that individuals who cannot afford their copays and deductibles have a resource so that they can continue to access those mental health services. So our school mental health navigators have been amazing. And since we started over a year ago, now 2 years ago, we've served over 700 children, but also we go to all the schools, and it doesn't matter if they're public or private, but we try to make our way to all the schools, especially when they request us to come out and talk to them. Our crisis system is really grounded and founded in SAMHSA, which is the Substance Abuse Mental Health Services Administration. So our goal and our core elements of our crisis system is really to have a statewide crisis call center, and what we hope you know by now is 988. We also centrally deploy a 24/7 mobile crisis team, which in all honesty has been quite challenging in the last few years due to staffing of those teams and the clinical crisis we have for finding clinical workers in our workforce overall. And we also provide 24 or 23-hour crisis services in terms of stabilization. So when someone shows up, they're in crisis, we can help them and stabilize their condition for the next step in care for 23 hours. And we also follow essential crisis practices and principles. So we offer a continuum of care, and what that means, we're always in this circle of prevention, early intervention, treatment, and recovery. So we always want to make sure we have a comprehensive array of services to address all the needs of the individuals who present for support. So again, early intervention, treatment, recovery, and prevention are really our core of our crisis continuum. So a couple of weeks ago, we actually celebrated 10 years of our being present on this campus as our Resource and Crisis Center, the RCC. But actually, OCHN has been providing services for the last 60 years. But there's a picture of us celebrating. So on-site service providers in that crisis or at the RCC include Common Ground, which is a crisis service for adults 24/7, as well as our newest program, New Oakland Family Services at the Youth and Family Care Connection. And we're really proud of the work that they're doing there, because before that program, we had families with youth who are waiting in hospital EDs to get services, and they were waiting. With our Youth and Family Care Connection, we can actually begin treatment, and in many cases, when we see young people in our center, we're able to divert them, meaning they don't necessarily have to be admitted to an inpatient unit. They can get connected to community-based services and supports, and our families appreciate that. So here's some information about what you do in person and what you do on our 24/7 call line, but also our access phone number is available from 8 to 8 every day, or Monday through Friday. And we're looking at expanding those hours. And also another partnership with the county is looking at how we put our access workers in the community health settings. So we're working very closely with the health department here and looking at ways that we can have our access workers make sure that they can serve people who show up who need mental health services, substance use disorder services, or any of the behavioral health services that we provide. So the adult crisis services, like I said, are primarily at Common Ground. And I'll get to the numbers because I do want to show you the outcomes. But it consists of Oakland Assessment Crisis Intervention Service, the Oakland County Intervention and Recovery Team, OCRT, Crisis Line, like I said, 988, Victims Assistance Programs, Crisis Residential Unit, where individuals can stay for up to 7 and sometimes 15 days in lieu of hospitalization, they can go there and receive their mental health services in a supportive, secure unit. And the Sober Support Unit, which is very unique to Oakland County in that we're probably one of the first ones in the state to have a Sober Support Unit where people can go and seek substance use treatment. And while they're waiting to be transferred or to be accepted by one of our recovery providers or substance use disorder providers, they can safely wait and be observed safely before they make their next move to treatment. Also, we've noticed that there is an increase in calls and people requesting services and help. So we've had a 15% increase, as you can see, and that is a good thing because people are reaching out. The bad thing about it is, and not such a bad thing, but the resources, we have to make sure we have the resources available to continue with the work that we do. And it's so critical with crisis services that when people call, you have one opportunity to help them. So we have to make sure that those lines are consistently answered, people get the help that they need, because if you miss that opportunity, they may not call back, they may not get the help that they need, and when you see them again, they may have the worst situation may have worsened. Again, we have increase in crisis calls. So one cause were our access calls. These are our crisis calls that are coming through our 988 line. So you can see there's quite a jump in 69,000 calls in 2023. And then even this year, as we look at the data, we see even more of an increase. So we also have our Youth Mobile Crisis Team that is operated through New Oakland Family Services or Family Centers, and it's for young adults 0 to 24, and they are responding to crisis in the community. They're able to go out to the community between the hours of 2 and 10, 7 days a week, and help families when they have a young person in crisis. So again, our Youth and Family Care Connection, I spoke about that earlier. That is also an 8-bed unit. Families can come there if they need a referral, if they need some assistance. They can come if they have just a routine question or need. They can come if there's something more urgent they need help with, but also they can come when they're in crisis. And one of the best things about this unit, as I said earlier, is that if a young person or a family brings their youth to this center, we can actually have them there and provide those crisis and mental health services right away, and they can stay up to 72 hours and get that support. So again, here are our numbers, which we're really, really proud of because we really want to make sure that our youth have the services and supports they need, and that if anything possible, we can keep them out of the hospital and we can keep them safe in the community to receive the services. Our SOBA support unit, I sort of jumped ahead and talked about that a little bit already. And then the numbers for our SOBA support unit. Since we opened, 92% of the individuals that we see at the SOBA support unit follow up and engage in substance use disorder treatment. And that's really important. So they don't leave out and have to figure it out again. They get there, they stay, and then they're connected to that service. So over the years, I think we started in 2017. I'm looking at Trish to help me cheat with this, but 16,634 people have been served through that SOBA support unit. Crisis-related initiatives. Again, we're really, really proud of the justice initiatives that we have, and in partnership, very much the support we receive here is allowed us to really expand in these programs. Our Justice Crisis Intervention Team training is a 40-hour training that we do at law enforcement that gives them more tools in their toolbox, but also allows them to de-escalate a situation when an individual really is in a mental health crisis, that they don't get arrested, they actually get the help and treatment that they need. The other program that we're really proud of, our co-responders. They're embedded in the law enforcement community, and we have them, and we know they're on demand. We have police officers and law enforcement offices. We work very closely with the Oakland County Sheriff's Department. It's an amazing partnership, and the more we are out there and we're able to address these situations, the more the community wants to see this type of partnership. So again, our goal is really to collaborate with law enforcement and behavioral health to cross over to ensure that we're connecting individuals to service. We also make sure that they have access to those services and we're able to follow up with them. We also can divert individuals from arrest and being put in jail and going to one of our crisis centers or going to one of our providers where they can get the help and support they need. This is the least restrictive way that we can help people who the police encounter in their day-to-day work. It also reduces the rate of involuntary hospitalization and increases officer safety. So if an officer has other tools in their toolbox, and they also have our co-responder with them, in many situations, that is a safe interaction and people are able to get the help that they need. And the other benefit is that our co-responders are able to follow up with that individual and make sure that they stay connected. And when the situation's happening, they may not want to have that connection, but we're able to follow up with them and make sure that they stay connected to those services. It also reduces repeat calls for services. We had a justice luncheon earlier in the year, and one of the families that showed up was a mom who had been trying to get her son help for many, many years. And with the partnership with the police and our co-responders and the sheriff's office, they were able to go to the home and help the son. And at the time the mom presented her story at our luncheon, she was so excited that for the first time her son was truly engaged in getting the help that he needed. And there was no fear when the officers came. They knew him, and they were able to intervene and keep him safe and get him to the service. So again, our co-responder, our core referrals from law enforcement have been 3,446. That's from August 2021 to March 2024. So 1,694 people were able to be maintained or remain in the community. There were 90 arrests out of that number, and 772 voluntarily transported to an emergency department or to our crisis center. So again, since we started crisis intervention team training, we've trained over 1,000 law enforcement officers in Oakland County alone. So our hope is that we get every officer trained in this community. So one of our newest initiatives, and we're really proud to introduce back in March, our behavioral health threat assessment and management program. And Trish is the expert because she actually is our trainer in this program, so I should make her come up and speak to it. But in respect for your time, the goal is really to prevent targeted acts of violence in the community through the implementation and management of intervention strategies. So under the leadership of our doctor, our chief medical officer, Dr. Pozios, he is able to train and identify, along with the program, train and identify individuals to identify and assess concerns regarding behaviors, implement and manage intervention strategies, and prevent, again, targeted violence. Part of this program was really exciting because the whole community was represented there. Oakland County Exec was there, as well as our Board of Commissioners, Senator Rosemary Bayer, Oakland County Sheriff's Officer, who is a huge partner, and the Oakland County Prosecutor's Office. So you can see how critical these programs are. And I think none of us can forget what happened at Oxford High School. That tragedy remains with us. But our hope and our goal is to prevent that from ever happening again. And through these programs, we can intervene and help people when we're getting involved in providing this training for the community. So we have to shout out our partners through the FBI, which is one of the officers, Hawkhorst, and then also Captain Todd Hill. I don't think, if anybody knows Captain Hill, he's such a dedicated and committed officer to this program and to the training and making sure our community stays safe. So that's the end of my presentation. There's our QR code if you want to scan that and keep our contact information in your phone. It's always helpful because we never know when we need it. And so I say to people when I present this information, you're all ambassadors. Now that you have this information, share it with somebody else. It's important to make sure that we educate the community about mental health and that help and support is available. So thank you.
Thank you. So much information. I know you try to break it down to bite-sized pieces, but the work that OCHN is doing is nothing short than incredible. If we have time for a few questions from commissioners, Commissioner Vice Chair Gershenson.
Hi, I just wanted to thank you for coming and for your willingness to listen to all the ideas that we bring forth and how many you've implemented. It's just been astounding. I also want to call out Tricia Zizumbo. Her relationship with law enforcement is unbelievable. She brings a credibility to the projects that we bring forward, and her hand in the co-responders' success has to be acknowledged. So thank you for all the great work that you do.
Absolutely. Any other comments, questions from commissioners? Commissioner Cavell.
Thank you, Chair. Hey, Dana. So this came up, mental health came up a lot this week in public health and safety, or last week. And so as we think about budget season, can you remind us of what the county's contribution to OCHN is and what it would be if it was kept on pace?
Well, actually, our budget, our annual budget is primarily Medicaid funds and other funds. And so we have a budget, an annual budget of $505 million. And that goes up and down. It sounds like a lot, but the demand is even greater. And so the percentage of the county is, I believe, 10% or less of that. And that's been about $11 million a year. But I have to say, too, other programs and services have been developed in partnership. Those have also been funded through ARPA dollars and other supports. So we definitely appreciate those partnerships.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any other questions? I guess I don't have any necessary questions, but I mean, related to Commissioner Cavell's comments, I think there's one thing that is generally accepted, that the amount of resources needed to meet and address the full mental health need is not there yet. Not there as a state, not there as a nation. And there's challenges on the horizon to ensure it, because we want to live in a place that can completely clear that gap. But it's a testament of Dana and her team, the way that she continues to lead this organization, data-driven, evidence-based programming, and most importantly, with a focus on outcome. not a focus on the work, but the focus on outcome to get people to a state in health that's that we all want everyone to be at. And I mean, I just, again, I couldn't be impressed more with the work that you're doing, and we look forward to this partnership, and we look forward to continue to build on things, and most importantly, finding more resources to address mental health
Thank you.
needs in Oakland County. Thank you. Another round of applause. Thank you, Dana. All right. I believe we had a lot of presentations, a lot of information at this meeting. So we already did, as I conclude the presentations, we've already addressed and adopted and received the communications. So this will bring us to our first public comment of the evening. This is an opportunity for any member of the public to address the board on topics on the agenda. We have a second public comment at the end of the meeting on any other topic. Before any topic, issues on the agenda, specifically the consent and regular agenda portions. We had a sheet, so we'll start with those. But if you didn't sign up, just raise your hand when we get to that point, and I'll call you up, and we'll allow anyone who wants to speak an opportunity to say something. We ask that you address your comments to the chair. We afford 3 minutes so that everyone's given the same amount of time to speak. This is not generally a Q&A opportunity. But we do have staff and others that are taking notes, and if there's something that requires some research and everything, that we will follow up with you after the meeting. So for the first public comment, I'm just going to start with the list here. Kelly Heyer from. Oh, okay. So the second public comment? Yeah. Okay, perfect. Catherine Kennedy? And if you can also just give your community of residents also. But it's good to see you again, Catherine.
Yes, it's been a while. Catherine Kennedy from Orion Township. And I actually have so many things I can't even keep up. But I actually take huge issue that we have 45 spending items on the consent agenda. So that means nobody in the community knows anything about any of the money that just got spent in all these departments. Economic development items 11A to O, finance 12A to 12I, legislative 13A to 13E, public health 14A to 14P, and then we get, half dozen of the regular, which means somebody in the Democratic leaning candidates thought those were even worse than the other 45. So I find it very perplexing that we did not get a single budget hearing this year before implementing the entire budget. There were no finance committees the entire month of August, nor were there economic, that at least published and with data available to the citizens that I could find where it should be. And then I discovered I actually have very big concerns about so many issues and expanding the voting, including updating the registers, which has all been gone to digital. All of our identity has gone digital, and they should not have kiosks at Auburn Hills Meyer where you can print your own ID, your own voting cards, your own car registration, or your own vote, but they do. So these are all things that as a citizen I'm looking and go, wait a minute, I paid into the system 45 years, and it looks to me like whether people realize it or not, outside forces or inside forces, not even sure, don't even care, are placing our entire communities, states, and country on a trajectory to bankruptcy. And I was shocked. My brain has had a lot of time to recuperate because of my stroke, which set me back, but the first time I've tried looking into the tax laws in a long time, because I finally felt I'm at the point I could actually read it with comprehension. And I was shocked to find out they're translating all of our documents for 1040s into 6 languages. And they're not even people we know that we like. English and Spanish, okay. Chinese, Vietnamese, Russian, and what was it? There's another one, I think, but I can't remember. But anyway, Korean. Why in the world is our tax money going to translate to all these languages? And the Secretary of State kiosk at Auburn Hills has 6 languages as well. Now, I don't know about you, but I can't read those languages. And then I found another directory item where it was marketing item. In English, it was only a one-page front and back. But in Arabic, that was the other language, it's a trifold open out with all sorts of stuff that I don't think is the same as the English version. I can't read Arabic, but I don't think it's the same. We need to ban all that. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Next up, I got Suzanne Maloney. Welcome back.
Thank you. And I want to congratulate all the people who won presentations. That was really fantastic this evening. And the mental health presentation was excellent. I'm here to talk in direct rebuttal to our Secretary of State's presentation. It was a beautiful presentation, but as Michigan voters know and actually remember, this is the Secretary of State who had to be sued to take dead people off of the voter rolls. She also was told by a judge after the 2020 election that she was wrong in telling clerks they didn't have to check signatures. More recently, she has proposed 2 bills, one of which this august body sponsored or promoted at the last meeting, but both of these bills, one is adding a lot of cost to the clerk's office, and the second bill is taking away the right of the Board of Canvassers and really the general public to object to and ask for investigations on elections. Now, right now, tonight, we heard the end of her presentation, which I really take exception to, and that is anybody who speaks opposite her opinion about the elections is a purveyor of misinformation, and that is absolutely not true. I work with an organization who takes the qualified voter rolls, looks at the information, works with it, and looks at it each month. We get that qualified voter file directly from the Secretary of State. Each month, she plays games with it and gives the information in a different form. That's so we can't get a true read on it. Most recently, she took away the way people vote, like is it absentee or in person? And it was always there. Anyway, very quickly, I want to share a not so rosy picture of what we're looking at with this election. On the qualified voter rolls, this is the information we got. 80,683 undeliverable addresses are still registered on the voter rolls. 37,000 registrations from apartments, hotels, trailer parks with no identifying unit number. 161,462 people have moved out of state, but they no longer, they are still on our voter rolls. Okay, to be continued.
Okay, we'll put you at the top, Melissa, and the next one. Hold applause. We want to make sure that everyone's welcome to speak and express their opinions. Next up, I got Jeff Shaper. I'm going to ask people to keep their focus, on that agenda, and Ms. Maloney. The Secretary of State did speak and was on the agenda, so that counts.
Oh, well, we saw a presentation. We thought that she was
on
the agenda.
Yep.
Okay, I'm Jeff Shaper from Troy, Michigan. I'm a member of Michigan Fair Elections, along with Susan. I heard the happy talk from Secretary Benson, and I wish she was here to engage with us on our concerns. And we have 3 main concerns. Number 1, the voter rolls are bloated. Right now, the qualified voter file is 104% of the voting age population in the state of Michigan. That is a fact. That is not misinformation. Number 2, there's talk about not having illegal registration get on the voter roll. And yet, we do not have a defined process that has been verified that shows that. I have talked, and several people have talked to many clerks. When we ask this question, their answer is, we don't know. We can't verify it, okay? In fact, that would be very good if you could have the county clerk, Lisa Brown, come in and present to the people the process of verifying that illegals do not get on our voter rolls. That would be a good agenda item. Many laws are being passed currently right now, are being considered, that weaken the integrity of our elections. In particular, is SB 603 and 604, which Ms. Maloney spoke about, is taking away the ability of the Board of Canvassers and voters to check the process of voting. And I've been to several hearings, and they don't talk about that. They talk about fraud and things like that. That is not right. Second thing, SBs 401 through 404 is talking about the Michigan voter rights. It is adding cost to conducting elections. Now, Oakland County and Troy, where I'm from, has the funds to do these kind of elections under these things, but many rural counties don't have the personnel, the bandwidth, or the funds in order to conduct this. Though this is not in your span of control, you need to be aware that many of your constituencies share these concerns. And by the way, I would love to be on the voter confidence panel council. I don't know how to get on that, but if I could be on that, you will see that I'm a calm professional and we can help people understand the elections and the integrity of it. Preserving the franchise is the most important right that we have, because from it, all our other rights flow from it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Next up, we have Rick Kowal, Supervisor of White Lake Township.
Welcome. Good evening, everyone. I'm Rick Kowal from White Lake Township. I am the supervisor of that great community. I have a little statement that I would like to read. On Tuesday, May 21st, last night, White Lake Township Board passed an agreement that is before this board for consideration tonight. It was surprising that today at 3:29, I was notified of a major change to this plan, carving out a large parcel for a HTIF that will result in a significant reduction of future funds generated. The township is not by any means seeking a major capture, a mere 35%, from my understanding, one of the lowest requests. And by our county treasurer's own words, Mr. Wittenberg, at a recent meeting said, "Is that enough? We can make it work." This resulting last-minute change after township board approval will only lessen our ability to have a fully effective plan. This 11th hour change does not leave us enough time to even consult with council or hold a board meeting with only 3 business days left to meet the state's deadline. We are unable to muster a quorum, and there are several empty seats here, as I can see in the commission, because of the holiday weekend. Knowing this information, I appeal to the Board of Commissioners to approve the original agreement that was submitted to White Lake Township and that the board approved at last night's meeting. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you, sir. Next up, I have Wendy Jackson. We're still in the public comment, speaking to items on the agenda.
Good evening,
Welcome.
everyone. Wendy Jackson here. I also must disclose I'm a candidate for 18th District Commissioner seat. I would like to make a comment on Dana Lansbury's, the Oakland County mental health, her presentation. And I noticed she said that over 16,000 people were helped, and she also said that 3,446 core referrals were made, 1,694 were remained in the community, 90 arrests, 772 voluntary hospitalizations. I would like to know how many numbers of them were children that may have a mental health crisis, which relates to what we have now in the society as they believe they're trans. So I don't know is there a pipeline if we have a child that is in crisis, maybe their parents don't accept them or believe them, and they might need these mental health services. What is the road that the doctors lead them on? Do they try to get them mental health to say, hey, you're fine in your own body? Or do they try to get them gender affirming care? Because as you know, that is a growing crisis in the United States. And some states actually take the children away from their parents because they disagree with their gender identity, especially if they have traditional values, such as they believe it's just a male or a female. So I just wanted to know what happens to these children. Are they pushed to gender affirming care, or are they brought back to their families once the crisis is over? Because that's a very important issue. And also, since they're working with the Oakland County Sheriffs, how many of the children, because I'm not sure how many she said had to go remained in the community, because we do want to avoid other mass shootings from children who may have these mental health issues from not being maybe believed, because I'm a traditional believer of male and female, but I just want to know what happens to these children, which way are they pushed once they're into the community mental health system. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Jackson. Is there anybody else? I think I got everybody. And then for the second public comment, Kelly, you'll be first. And I have Catherine Kennedy again. You'll have the second public comment as well. And anybody else who wants to. Is there anybody else that wants to speak for the first public comment on items on the agenda that has not spoken yet? Nope. Bless you. Seeing none, I will close the first public comment, and that will bring us back to the regular agenda under announcements. I mean, I can give some answers to some of the questions that came up under announcements a little bit later in the meeting. But we'll move now to reports of standing committees. The first item that we have is the consent agenda. Is there a motion to adopt the consent agenda? Moved by Commissioner Lube, seconded by Commissioner Hoffman. Any discussion on the consent agenda? I mean, just for those watching at home, all of these items have gone through our committee process. All of our committee meetings are posted online to attend in person, streamed live, posted on live, and to get on the consent agenda is the result of a unanimous vote. Democrats and Republicans coming together to get things done. And if you look at this agenda, it's mostly that thing. And so, I mean, there were statements that were mentioned earlier that says there's no posting, there's no information, there's no data and everything. And I challenge you to look at that, all those meetings. There's more documentation on every one of these items than any other county, because it's been verified across the state, that is represented here. Again, adopted unanimously in committee of our four standing committees, policy and our finance committee. So any other discussion on the items? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please prompt the vote. It was motioned by Lube, seconded by Hoffman. You got Commissioner Johnson.
Commissioner Johnson?
Aye.
Commissioner Powell? Where'd she go? Okay. Yes. Okay.
Is Commissioner
Ms.
Powell
Charles
in the
is a
hallway?
yes.
Yes.
Commissioner Spiz, thank you.
Yeah, wait, hold one
Johnson
second.
left. Commissioner Markham, okay, is a yes. Commissioner Miller?
Yes.
Commissioner Taylor? Yes. Commissioner Powell, consent agenda? Yes. Thank you. Mr. Chair, you have 15. Yes. So it's 16 yeas. 16 yeas, 0 nays.
A sufficient number voting in the affirmative, the consent agenda is adopted. This will now move us to the regular agenda, and I will call on the Chair of Economic Development and Infrastructure Committee, the Honorable Yolanda Smith-Charles.
Thank you, Chair. We're on item 15?
Correct. 15.
Okay. So I have 15A under Economic Development Infrastructure, which is the adoption of the lease with Novi Investment Partners, LLC, at 48150 Grand River Avenue, Novi, Michigan, for the 52-1 District Court.
Moved by Commissioner Smith-Charles, seconded by Commissioner Rahman. Any discussion? Commissioner Spiz.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I voted no in committee, and I'm going to continue to vote no on this today. And for those that weren't in committee on why I voted no, we're leasing a piece of property for a term, or by the end of the term, we will have paid more for that piece of property than the piece of property is worth. And this isn't the first time we've leased this piece of property. So my concern is from a business perspective, we as Oakland County, I think, need to get a little bit better in what we do in not only our leases and or buying the piece of property. I know the argument's out there. Sometimes you lease versus buy because from a business perspective, it's easier to move on, but this is a courthouse. I don't think we're going to be moving out of this courthouse anytime soon. And then we just allocated $10 million ARPA money to the Pontiac project that we paid $20 million for those buildings that we're owning. So why wouldn't we put the same type of criteria, or at least consideration, into some of our courthouses that we lease, with the long term from a business perspective would pay itself off. So that's why I'm voting no. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Anybody else want to speak on the item? I know it. This will be an example on where there's disagreement. Commissioner Cabell.
Commissioner Spiz, I couldn't agree with you more, but what's unfortunate is when I learned about this too, is that this is one of those legacy costs from things and choices made by leadership pre-2019.
Oh, I almost want to get involved in this discussion, but I think, I know that the Democratic caucus, I don't want to put Commissioner Johnson on the spot, I think did a really good job also raising that. There's a bigger conversation about how we fund, how we pay for district courts. Some are funded exclusively by municipalities, some are funded by the county. All of them are losing revenue because of the complexity of these, in these cases, and I think there's definitely, it warrants a bigger conversation going forward over policy. But I would, honestly say that the discourse around here, I think that there's a lot of commonality, and but we need a lease in the meantime. So I'll be voting yes. Any further discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please prompt the vote.
Commissioner Lubes? Yes. Commissioner Hoffman? Yes. Commissioner Powell? Yes. Commissioner Cavell? Yes. And Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
And Commissioner Taylor?
Yes.
Thank you. I don't know what the problem is with the program, but okay. Mr. Chair, you have 15 yeas, 1 nay.
Sufficient number voting in the affirmative, the resolution is adopted. Commissioner Smith-Charles.
Thank you, colleagues. The next item is 15B, which is the purchase agreement with Six Rivers Land Conservancy for 2473 Square Lake Road in Troy, Michigan. It's a purchase agreement.
Moved by Commissioner Smith-Charles. Whose district is it in? Commissioner Galt, Erickson Galt. Seconded by Commissioner Erickson Galt. Any discussion? Okay, this is the most exciting thing that's on the agenda today. So someone say something. All right, Commissioner Johnson first.
Thank you very much. I am tickled that this is finally coming to a head. It's going to be a great property. I'm excited to see whatever happens with it, and I hope that we don't just build a giant parking lot.
Right.
Thank you.
Commissioner Cavell.
To Melissa and Chris watching this in the back room, congrats. Parks are great.
Right. Yes. Commissioner Erickson Galt.
Thank you, Chair. Is this on?
Yep.
Yes, thank you. My community couldn't be more happy to see the development of the Turtle Woods Park. They are so excited to see this property be used as parkland. For those of you who may not know, originally the Turtle Woods Park was property owned by the school district. We are still endeavoring to get a grant from the state of Michigan to pay for the remaining property. This property is going to be used to build some wonderful amenities to make this a useful park. It will include, unfortunately, a parking lot, because you do have to have some parking for buses and people to come and enjoy the park. But it will also include other amenities, necessary ones such as restrooms and so forth. But this is such an amazing project. You know, fingers crossed that we get that grant and this all goes through, and the people that are selling this property to us are excited about it as well. They are very much in favor of the development of this park. So thank you for everybody who's worked on this. It'll be a real bonus for the city of Troy and my community.
Great. Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Spiz.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I will be supporting this purchase because, you know, we're actually purchasing a piece of property and it makes sense from a logical business perspective to purchase this project versus getting into long-term agreements that, you know, go into perpetuity to a degree until we decide to actually purchase them. At that time, who knows what the situation of the economy will be. So I support this 100%.
Right. And I too, I think it's been said, this parcel is necessary to fully leveraging the activization of the space to make it available to the public, to become integrated into the Oakland County Park System. If you haven't been to the Turtle Woods area, it literally is stepping into up north in the Troy, DeQuinder, Square Lake Road area. And it is, I've had multiple opportunities to tour it. It will be great. And this parcel helps complete, well, it's one more step in completing the puzzle. The grant will help fully complete the puzzle. And shout outs to Six Rivers and the executive directors in the House, and as well as Melissa Prowse at the Oakland County Parks, who this has been a labor of love, and we're going to make it work.
And Paul.
Those two are the only people who can give me that march in the woods.
Paul Zakos. Did you forget Paul? Don't forget
Paul.
Paul.
Sorry, yes, and Paul, yes. Well, I mean, the guy that makes all our land deals possible. So, thank you. Without any further discussion, let's, Madam Clerk, please prompt the vote.
Okay. Chair Woodward?
Yes.
No, he's not here. Commissioner Markham?
Yes.
Commissioner Gershenson?
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson?
Absolutely.
Mr. Chair, you have 16 yeas, 0 nays.
Sufficient number voted in the affirmative. The resolution is adopted. Commissioner Smith-Charles.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. That concludes the regular agenda items for EDI.
Thank you very much. Next up will be the Finance Committee, and I will call on the Chair of Finance, Gwen Markham. Commissioner Gwen Markham.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My first item tonight is item 16A, the White Lake Township Corridor Improvement Authority Plan, and we have an amendment.
All right, moved by Commissioner Markham, seconded by Commissioner Hoffman, and there's an amendment for the proposal. I'm moved by Commissioner Cavell, seconded by Commissioner Gershenson. Any discussion on the amendment? I mean, there's a lot of talk here. We'll talk about it. Commissioner Long, you can go first, and then we'll go from there.
Thank you. So I just want to kind of reiterate what Supervisor Kowal said. So we did have the meeting May 14th, the TIF meeting, the Tax Increment Finance meeting, and I just wish that this amendment would have been brought to our attention and White Lake's attention last week when we were at the TIF meeting. I agree with them. They don't have time because of the holiday weekend. It has to be by the state Tuesday by 3 p.m. In order to capture 2023 taxes. And I talked to Supervisor Kowal. They just won't be able to get a board meeting, their local board meeting together by then. So I'm just disappointed in the timing of this amendment. I think there could have been more discussion. I found out about it at 4 o'clock today on the way here. So, I have 60% of White Lake, so I am disappointed in finding out about this. And right now they don't agree, but it's not to say if they would have had more time to digest, go to the board and discuss this, that they would agree. So I can't support it right now because I represent White Lake, but I'm just really disappointed that this, to me, was last minute, and it should have been brought up at the TIF meeting last week, where we were there over an hour, and White Lake was there with the representation there. So I won't be supporting it. And I'm disappointed because this has been 5 months in the making, and White Lake, I think I saw this plan when I first got elected, gaining White Lake in my district. And so over a year ago, Supervisor Kowal drew on a piece of paper the map and was all excited about this corridor and drew what the plans were and stuff. So it's been a long time coming. So for a last minute amendment like this, I'm disappointed. So I'm not going to support it. And it hurts me because I think this is a good opportunity for White Lake to capture that $3 million for their project. But at this point, I can't support it because I don't think that the timing is the issue for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Long. Commissioner Hoffman.
Thank you, Chairman Woodward. I'm going to urge everybody to vote against this amendment. I mean, what kind of process is it where we go through finance, we discuss this thing, the township is up against the deadline with the state of Michigan to get this plan filed, and at the last minute, your side of the aisle comes up with an amendment to interject yourself into this community, and because you think that they don't have enough low-income housing, so you're going to dictate, not knowing what the needs of the community are, or how much low-income housing there is in White Lake. Do any of you know what percentage low-income housing is there in White Lake? Well, I can tell you, it's 17%. I'd love to know what some of the other communities are, and I think that's pretty high for that community. And if you factor in that 28% of the township is parkland, that percentage of land available is actually higher than 17%. And I'm just kind of outraged that you'd come here at the 11th hour and think you know what's better for that community, but we already went through the process. I'll support the original amendment as I did in finance, and it was almost unanimous. There's only one person who voted against it. But here we are at the 11th hour. This is not right, and I would not do this to you guys. So I appreciate if you don't do it to my district either. And if you want to have a further discussion down the road about housing, I'd be happy to do it. But this is not proper. Thank you.
I'm going to jump in here, and then others can add, because I want to correct, some of the information that has been stated is not correct. First and foremost, I think it's important to understand what this process is, that the Board of Commissioners is the negotiating body that negotiates an agreement that gets accepted by another local community. Now, I realize that White Lake jumped the gun to try to approve something before the board acted, but the board ultimately decides this agreement. So that's the first and foremost. And I had heard that they had a meeting on Tuesday. When they say that there's no time to have another meeting, I find it interesting because there's a special township board meeting scheduled for May 23rd at 5:30 p.m. tomorrow, because they also knew this amendment was coming. The conversation about housing came up at the very first preview campaign about the TIF committee. I was in that meeting. We talked about the need for housing. A corridor improvement authority, which captures, we're talking about capturing county money. So why is there a county conversation about how these dollars are used, or what is the opportunity cost, or how are they leveraged to achieve county objectives? because this is $3 million not available to be used on county priorities, county operations, and county parks that would be collected into this corridor improvement, into this authority. So in that process, over the last few weeks, it became clear that there was also a housing proposal that meets the zoning requirement as White Lake dictates, that there's an opportunity to use the new HTIF law, the new amendments to use TIF districts or to create TIF districts to help support housing because a corridor improvement authority itself cannot. And as a result of that, and most importantly as a result of the strategic goals of this county, one of which is livable neighborhoods, which speaks specifically to improving housing affordability, whether it's homeownership or rental, access to parks, transit, healthy foods, etc. This is one of our 8 core objectives that aligns with everything that this was brought forward. It is no surprise. It was not a surprise. This notion that this is a complete surprise is just not accurate based on the conversations that I have personally had, but most importantly, conversations around housing and this project that's been going on for quite some time. So what this amendment does, and I think it's important to clarify what this amendment does, it says, let's enter into this agreement today because the HTIF guidelines and rules of the states, they still have to be finalized. It is accessing MSHDA tax credits and a host of other things. A developer already owns this property. A developer is looking to figure out how to build upwards of 300 units, senior housing and other attainable housing to help address the missing middle. That let's work together over the next year, maybe it takes 18 months or whatever, to see if we can bridge the financing gap to make this happen. If everyone operates in good faith, we continue this agreement over 20 years because what we're talking about is a 20-year deal. After that, after this interim period, the board has the ability to decide if we're going to continue to allow the capture of county dollars into a project. We asked in the committee process, when are you about to bond? And the bonding is not expected for a few years. So it doesn't interrupt any potential bonding if there's sidewalk improvements and other things that a TIF district, a corridor improvement authority can capture. Doesn't disrupt any of those plans because the tax capture, it's incremental, it's a percentage of the growth in property tax revenue of the county that would otherwise come to the county that would go into this entity to be used for things aligned with the plan. So it is perfectly appropriate to have this conversation. The alternative is to have this money locked away without any say from Oakland County. And so I think this is perfectly appropriate. The Township Board is meeting tomorrow. It's according to their website. There's a special meeting scheduled tomorrow, which is a little frustrating that it says we don't have time to meet because it's clearly scheduled. And I was informed that they knew an amendment of this sort was coming. So let people speak for the first time, and then if people want to speak for a second time. Commissioner Smith-Charles, followed by Commissioner Cavell.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Out of an abundance of collaboration and respect for my caucus and the conversations and multiple TIF meetings that I've participated in, and as a real estate professional, I do have concerns that I didn't get to articulate in caucus because I guess I just figured everything's pretty status quo. Then I saw the amendment. As it is right now, I would encourage everyone to vote, how they feel, of course, but for this amendment, I am going to be a no vote because when we talk about developers and basically helping them, while I appreciate it and I like it, I don't feel like I got a chance to chew on it enough. Having spoken with some of the township people just now, the whole public comment, it just does feel a little rushed. I am very dedicated to the cause of affordable housing. Quite frankly, I feel like the market should dictate whether or not anyone wants to even move to White Lake. If they opt to not have certain types of housing available, then other communities will get those residents in that tax base. However, I am fully still committed 100% to the original action. I know we're still talking about TIF. There's a lot of moving pieces, but unless I hear something motivating, yeah, Amendment 1, I'm not sure about it as of now.
Commissioner Cabell.
Yolanda, I hope this is motivating. From 10:30 to 1 o'clock-ish today, I hung out with Sean O'Neill, the planning director from White Lake Township, who took me to every part of this corridor improvement authority, all 6 miles. And the thing we're talking about here is this little thing right here, this little red triangle at the bottom there. So it's 70 acres out of 6 miles of length, thousands of acres. And what we're talking about here is a grand total of, I think it's actually like 68 acres. And so just to put that into context. Second, to reiterate what Chair Woodward said, is the board's prerogative to talk about us voting with our values, because as we always say in Finance Committee, your budget is your value statement. And then the third thing, just to reiterate what Chair said, this has been going on. I mean, this is Sean's first TIF. We hung out for 2 hours a day. He was talking to me about this. This is his first time doing one of these, and it's taken him 16 months. But then what Chris said, it's taken them actually 23 years, 21 years. Okay.
A year ago.
Okay, a year ago. Well, what Sean was telling me is this was something that was planned before the Great Recession, but they had to shelf it. And what I'm trying to say is, these things are constant conversations, and from the beginning, as Chair Woodward said, we put on the table, we care about walkability, we care about diversity, we care about housing, we care about parks, we care about access. This is important to us. And they knew that going in. And I don't know what Rick came in here all mad about, because Sean was super cool today. I'm not trying to put him out, and I'm happy to talk to him tomorrow. And if he's watching, sorry, man, but he was very amenable and very open and very willing to talk about everything and anything, including how he wants to help White Lake have accessible, attainable, affordable housing so this can be a walkable place. He literally told me for seniors and for young families trying to move in, and then he used himself as an example for this. So I think the implementer is super cool with this. I'm worried that perhaps this is just maybe a duel of egos that we're getting caught in the middle of. This is like a practical, minor amendment to something, and I feel like there's getting a lot of heat because of the energy at play.
Thank you, Commissioner. Is there anyone else that would like to weigh in for the first time? Commissioner Miller?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So the one thing that doesn't sit well with me is when it was brought up that this amendment was brought last minute. There has been almost everybody in this room that has brought up an amendment when something comes up on the floor here. So that's our right as commissioners to do that. And that's one thing that doesn't sit well with me, because we read things and we hear things, and we might hear things before we walk into this meeting because somebody contacts us. So that's our right to do that. So I believe any commissioner could bring up an amendment whether everybody likes it or not. So that's all I want to say about that. Thank you.
Commissioner Powell?
The question I have for Chairman is, how did we predict the number of units that can be buildable on that lot? Because I did step out to go talk to Supervisor Kowal, and he was just stating that he's not against this moving, he had his concerns about the amendment. He still wanted to support the project. But that was one of the things that he brought up, is that still with the amendment, some of the things that's in it is not allowing them to have the opportunity to check that possibility. But at the same time, I just wanted to know and go on the record, how did we even project the 300 units to be built? Because I'm all about affordable, how attainable. Right. Let's change that. Because every time somebody say affordable, that pokes a nerve. Right. So let's just say attainable.
If I answer that, is that my understanding of the proposed project is a two-phase project. Altogether, it's 300 plus units. The number is less important, because I think it's important to understand what this amendment is. This amendment doesn't say it guarantee this. What it does say is that there needs to be good faith effort to work towards this. And if there is good faith effort to work towards this, and it's zoned already available for this, and I think, Commissioner Cavell mentioned to me after his meeting with White Lake that it's zoned to be apartments anyway.
Yep.
And so that it's possible. Without the amendment, there is absolutely, you lock in agreement, there is no way that to leverage Oakland County's contribution, which when we participate in the TIF, this is $3 million not available for something else. There is this TIF, this corridor improvement plan, I know involves some very robust things, the building of a new township hall and a bunch of other things along the corridor, and definitely very strong value determined by the leadership and many of the citizens of White Lake. Housing is absolutely important too. This corridor particularly is vitally important as it aligns to county transportation plans and a host of other things. And so all this amendment does is says, we're pulling the levers, like we're in right now, over the next little bit, sooner rather than later ideally, but as long as it takes, we can evaluate. And then good faith efforts, the board has the option to decide whether or not to continue to participate. It will not jeopardize any bonding, because that's not scheduled to happen for 3 years or more. It doesn't jeopardize any of the other planning activities because the capture will happen on schedule. The argument that it can't be taken up, there's a meeting scheduled tomorrow. And so you add all those things together. I think this is an appropriate, responsible thing if we as a county are going to live into our values. We know that more attainable, affordable housing units need to be constructed by the end of the decade. That our first-year teachers and first-year police officers and firefighters and nurses and it's like this is absolutely critical for our economy to survive. There's a forecast of 12,000 units by the end of the decade that needs to be under construction across the county, not in one individual area, but across the county. And we have a housing trust fund that we are stepping up as a county to help support that. This doesn't demand or dictate. What it does say, for consideration of the $3 million of Oakland County, that we need serious, strong consideration for a zonable and allowable product that's necessary for Oakland County.
And any more first-time comments? Commissioner Weipert.
Thank you. White Lake's been working on this for years. In the past 16 months, there's been numerous meetings with the county economic team, the township economic team, and we should let the market drive the housing. I think the market would drive that kind of housing. And this week, in the past week, we came through our board process at the committee level, and we approved it. That's what was agreed upon by everybody. And now we've heard from the supervisor that he's not in favor of this amendment. We don't know if they have a quorum tomorrow, and the deadline is Tuesday at 3. So if we change the plan today, and they don't have a quorum tomorrow, it's Memorial Day weekend, they may not be able to get this thing in on Tuesday at 3. So, and we've heard from the township supervisor that he's not in favor of this amendment.
Commissioner Long.
So I do want to clarify, because I was told there was no meetings this week, so I won't say who told me, but, so I did look up on.
Who told you that?
I know, I won't tell you, it's a secret. But, so I got to clarify to get me out of that. I did look up online, there is a special board meeting tomorrow, Thursday at 5:30. I don't know what it was regarding, but they do have it on their website. So I want to clarify that. And in TIF meeting, I do agree, we did talk about housing in the TIF meeting. We did talk about transportation, pathways, and that was included in their plan. However, when we left TIF meeting, and Yolanda's on that, and Phil, are you on TIF meeting too? It was that Sean O'Neill said that would be put in their plan eventually with the housing, and we kind of left it not like a amendment, added amendment, but they just kind of promised, yes, we're going to look into that. So that's the difference I have. Now it's in writing, and I do think it was kind of last minute for them. I just wish this was brought up last Tuesday, and they could have massage the amendment a little more now that it's in writing. I don't know, I didn't talk to Sean, so I'm not sure where Sean is. I heard where these, these three local officials are. So I'm kind of in a hard spot right now because this is a great project. And I hate voting no for anything that's a project, but I'm hoping they'll put it on their board meeting tomorrow and it will go through Tuesday. But I just want to say, yes, I looked, there is a meeting because then I misspoke, but I was told there was no meeting. So thank you.
Commissioner Hoffman, did you? Okay, Commissioner Johnson and Rahman.
Sure, thank you. Timing aside, with my Republican colleagues, I don't disagree that we did bring this up at TIF, and much of this did come up. I guess, in my opinion, based on what Chair Woodward is saying, we're really just looking for good faith effort, right? As long as they show a good faith effort, we're still moving forward with this plan as is. Mm-hmm. We're not denying anybody funding. We're not denying them all the benefits of this TIF. All we're saying is these are our priorities. Can you meet it? We're not even asking them to meet it today. We're giving them a whole year to try to come up with something that fits in line with this. So I guess from my standpoint, there's no harm because if we vote this down, the whole thing is going to fail. At least now we give them the opportunity to get 1 year of funding. We can improve their corridor and give them a year to try to come back to us with something valid that's going to fit within our priorities. So to me, it makes sense, and that's why I'm moving forward with it.
Thank you, Commissioner Rahman. Commissioner Johnson?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll very fast because I'm largely ambivalent. The only stake in the game that my district has is the opportunity cost of $3 million, or our share of $3 million in county services. So I'm cognizant of that, but I want to be largely ambivalent. What I will say is, as much of a proponent of housing as I am, I really see this as more, and this is my understanding of it, a codification of a gentleman's agreement. And I'm a romanticist when I think about our country. This is a country that has been built on norms and values and agreements. But if I've seen anything over the last few years, it's that codifying norms and codifying spoken agreements is actually very, very important. And I don't mind putting things in ink, especially if it is rather non-consequential. So that's kind of my 2 cents.
Are there any other comments on the amendment? Commissioner Hoffman.
All your points are well taken, but the problem is this went through the committee. The agreement was sent to White Lake Township. They voted on it. Now they have to have a special meeting because the rules are being changed again. This is not right. This is not good government. This is not proper.
Commissioner Weber.
The reason Vice Chair is moderating because I'm actively participating. I'm going to have to take exception with Commissioner Hoffman. There is no agreement yet until this board takes action. We are not a rubber stamp. We are the board. The agreement becomes final after the board takes action, and that's how it's always been.
But you changed
The
what
board,
they thought they
there
were
is no
agreeing
agreement
to.
yet, Commissioner Hoffman.
We sent them the agreement.
No, the agreement is not an agreement until approved by this board.
Commissioner Spiz.
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair. To Commissioner Woodward's point, it's actually both parties have to agree. So it's a chicken or the egg. I mean, either one can vote for whatever, and either one can make an amendment, which Commissioner Miller pointed out. My question is really based on the amendment. Has our Corp Council read this and approved this? Because my question is
yes, this amendment has been reviewed by Corp Council.
Okay, because the word unreasonable or unreasonably withheld. What does, to me, of course I'm an engineer and I get more details of work. What does it really mean? And I would be concerned with that word if I was the township too.
I can say that I guess the answer to the question is that Corp Council has reviewed this and has been working at great length on this.
Okay, and I appreciate it. And then from my perspective on this, and it's not my community, so my 3 fellow commissioners here that actually represent that community, have been speaking up on it. And just from my point of view of this amendment, yes, any of us can put amendment at any time. Yes, that's our right as an elected official and sitting on this body. It's just, it's timing, right? It's timing. Yes, they have a board meeting tomorrow, right? They have to go through their legal process too. They have to make sure everybody's there. You know, it's just it's a concern that 3 or 4 days over a holiday weekend, that we're expecting them to put something in place that they may not support from a board. Yes, I can't remember John's name that helped develop the plan, but Sean, is that his name? Who's the guy from White Lake that you sat with, Charlie? Sean. I mean, Sean, I don't think he gets to vote on it.
True.
Right? So, yeah, he can have any opinion he wants, but he's not the person on the board that has to vote for this.
He's gotta do all this shit, though.
Yeah, he's got to do all the work, and unfortunately in his role, yeah, he's got to do a lot of work in a lot of different directions to make sure everybody's happy, right? So, and that's just my concern, is timing. Yes, and to everybody's point, on the other side of the aisle, and it actually crosses on this side of the aisle, you know, attainable housing is an issue for all of our districts, right? It's an Oakland County issue. Anybody that's working with their planning commissions and doing master plans, you know, understand that, because you look at the average house price in Oakland County in general, most people can't afford to buy a house here for the first time. Now, you mentioned first-time school teachers, first-time police officers. It's first-time engineers. It's first-time doctors. It's difficult. You know, my kids are going to graduate soon, and I don't see a way for them to be able to buy a house in Oakland County today at that price, right? It is something we need to discuss. You know, and I've committed to Charlie in the past that we need to talk about this. It's not an easy discussion, right? But going forward, I mean, and my concern here is pushing this right on White Lake now, to me, is a concern. Do I want to have a further discussion? You're damn right I do, because I think we need to. But to me, it's almost like you're trying to push this down White Lake's throat at the 12th hour and say you have to accept this or you're not getting this money. I know the way you said it's a gentleman's agreement, I understand, but that's how it feels to them, and that's kind of how it feels to me.
Thank you, Commissioner Spiz. Commissioner Markham?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to reiterate one more time what Commissioner Rahman pointed out, which is the agreement that we're talking about tonight is for the first year exactly what we've been talking about from the very beginning. All we're asking with the amendment is, instead of locking us into 20 years, we're going to lock us into that first year and have a good discussion over the next year about the housing piece of it. And at that point, then we will decide if we continue on for the 19 more years. And I think whoever used the word good faith, I think good faith on the part of the county, good faith on the part of White Lake, we will come to some reasonable agreement. But tonight, we are just voting to move the Corridor Improvement Authority agreement with this amendment that says in a year, we hope to have a housing component finalized as well.
Thank you. Should I?
Commissioner, all right,
One last comment, and thank you very much. So, we're going to do this for 1 year, and if the township doesn't agree with what the majority wants, you're not going to continue on for 19 years. It's not that there's no give and take here. You're going to dictate to them what they want. You're going to go into their community, which I want to go into your community, and dictate their housing needs and where it's going to be and all that other stuff. That's not right.
Commissioner Rahman for a second time, and then
Yes.
I think we belabored the point.
Thank you. Yeah, you know, to Commissioner Hoffman's point, I don't think any of us are looking to go into your community and dictate terms. We're just saying that in general, we would like to see attainable housing as a first step. When there's $3 million on the line of tax revenue that we're giving up, all we're saying is we want to see a good faith effort, and they've already agreed to that. We're not going in saying we need X number of units or needs to comply with these terms. At least speaking for myself, I can't speak for all my fellow colleagues. But as long as they're making a good faith effort, to Commissioner Johnson's point, we're just codifying a gentleman's agreement. And that's the way I'm seeing it. I'm not looking to go into your community and dictate terms or say this is exactly what needs to happen.
All right, Commissioner Powell. That's what I'm about to do. I was like, no, I'm ready to know. All right, yes. Thank you. Okay. So on the amendment, I encourage my colleagues to vote yes. On the amendment, Madam Clerk, will you please prompt the vote? On the amendment.
Yes, this vote is on the amendment. And if you can, please vote at on your tablets, otherwise I'll be calling on you. Starting with Chair Woodward.
Yes.
Commissioner Spiz. No. Commissioner Hoffman. No. Commissioner Markham.
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, you have 12 yeas, 4 nays.
Sufficient number voting affirmative, the amendment is adopted. That brings us back to the main motion. I think we've talked at labor ad nauseum about it. Is there any further discussion? This is adopting the agreement for the Corridor Improvement Authority with the, as amended. Seeing no discussion, Madam Clerk, please prompt the vote.
Okay. Please vote at your desk. Should I just start saying? Chair Woodward.
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, you have 12 yeas, 4 nays.
Sufficient number voting in the affirmative, the resolution and agreement is adopted. Commissioner Markham.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My next item is 16B, the extension with the Allen Law Group, PC, for outside legal counsel services.
Moved by Commissioner Markham, seconded by Commissioner Rahman. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, Madam Clerk, please prompt the vote.
Chair Woodward.
Yes.
Commissioner Gershenson.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, you have 16 yeas, 0 nays.
Sufficient number voting in the affirmative, the resolution is adopted. Commissioner Markham.
Mr. Chair, that concludes the report of the Finance Committee for tonight.
Thank you very much. That will bring us to... That's why we pay her the big bucks. Next up, we have the Legislative Affairs Government Operations Committee, chaired by Commissioner Brendan Johnson.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, I only have one item today from the report of the Legislative Affairs and Government Operations Committee. Mr. Chair, I move the nomination of Denise Elias to a 6-year term on the Oakland County Jury Commission.
Moved by Commissioner Johnson, seconded by Commissioner Spiz. Any discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please prompt the vote.
Chair Woodward.
Yes.
Commissioner Gershenson. Yes. Mr. Chair, you have 16 yeas, 0 nays.
Sufficient number voting in the affirmative, the resolution, the appointment is confirmed.
Thank
Commissioner
you.
Johnson.
Well, I'm just proud that that passed unanimously again. Thank you all very much. That's how you do nonpartisan things. That concludes the report of the Legislative Affairs and Government Operations Committee.
Great. Thank you very much. And then I will now call on the Honorable Penny Lubes, the Chair of the Public Health and Safety Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. There is one item under Public Health and Safety. I move acceptance of a donation of a Matris drone combo and accessories from the Township of Oakland.
Moved by Commissioner Lubes, seconded by Commissioner Spiz. Any discussion? Commissioner Spiz.
I would just like to publicly thank the Township of Oakland for its donation.
Okay. Commissioner Cavell.
I think we need to be mindful of the fact that drones are another form of surveillance. Yes, policing, but I think we need to beg the question, do we want more policing and more surveillance? And because we do not fully have that answer in the form of a drone policy, I'm voting no on this and other things like this.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Miller, followed by Commissioner Powell.
Thank you, Chairman. As Commissioner Cavell said, yes, drones are surveillance, but in my sworn deputy service in Genesee County, I've learned that it actually helps with fast, high-speed chases and crashes. So you've deployed a drone, it can actually help search for individuals that leave their homes that don't know where they're going. So there is a lot of good that can happen too.
Thank you. Commissioner Powell.
I just wanted to say and add to Commissioner Miller's comments, represent Pontiac where one of the drone units are stationed. It has helped our community tremendously in anything relating to crime as such as chasing people and finding individuals who were missing. We had a situation last year and it was a woman and 3 of her kids that was found in a very, very heavy wooded area, and only one of the kids survived. And thank God we had the drones, because if not, our police officers did go in that area and they did not find anything. So the drones saved us to locate this family. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any further discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please prompt the vote. Should we restart that? No. Moved by Lubes. Seconded by Spiz.
Technology at its best. We gotta fix this. It's terrible.
Is it not prompted?
Okay, we're just going to do this one all verbally. So, Chair Woodward.
Yes.
Commissioner Spiz.
Yes.
Commissioner Lubes.
Yes.
Commissioner Nelson left. Commissioner Long.
Yes.
Commissioner Hoffman. Yes. Commissioner Whitebert.
Yes.
Commissioner Markham. No. He said no. Commissioner Powell. Yes. Commissioner Gershenson.
Yes.
Commissioner Miller.
Yes.
Commissioner Smith Charles. Commissioner Cavell.
No.
Commissioner Johnson.
Yes.
Commissioner Rahman.
Yes.
Commissioner Erickson Gall. Yes. Commissioner Taylor.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, you have 14 yeas, 2 nays.
Sufficient number voting in the affirmative. The resolution is adopted. Commissioner Lubes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. That concludes my report.
Thank you very much. That concludes the regular agenda. This moves us to new and miscellaneous business. And we got a couple. I think we have one item we're going to take up, but most of the committee. So I will start with Commissioner Smith Charles.
Thank you, Chair. Still not used to the verbiage I'm supposed to say right now, but I believe the sponsorship of the Lathrop Village Music Festival, I'd like that referred to finance.
Referred without objection.
Thank you.
Commissioner Powell on the next item.
This resolution is to be referred to LAGO, and it's covering supporting Protect Michigan Kids tobacco legislation, and I like this referred to LAGO. Sorry.
Referred to LAGO without objection. Next up we have, well, why don't we jump to D? Commissioner Spiz.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have a motion to approve the addition of Gold Star families to the Parks and Recs for Oakland County for free annual vehicle passes, similar to the federal program that's already in place, and refer to LAGO.
Referred to LAGO without objection. And this will bring us to, we'll come back to item C. Commissioner Lubes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Would like to present a resolution designating Oakland County as a Purple Heart County. So Purple Heart is a special distinction.
Well, how about this? Like, moved by Commissioner Lubes, seconded by Hoffman. We'll make this bipartisan. And I mean, the objective is to take this up right now because of things. But Commissioner Lubes, why don't you speak to?
The Purple Heart is a special distinction, and it means a service member has greatly sacrificed themselves, having been wounded or paid the ultimate price, having been killed while in the line of duty. And there are 50,000 military veterans residing in Oakland County. it's in other counties.
Right. And so, I mean, this is in recognition of a Memorial Day that's coming, but also activities in June, no, August, bring other VFWs as well as Purple Heart recipients together to honor designating Oakland County as a Purple Heart County. And I have spoken with the executive office, also supportive of this. Any further discussion? You actually don't. No. We're good. So, okay. Seeing no further discussion, Madam Clerk, please prompt the vote. It's taking up the resolution.
Commissioner Spiz? Commissioner Spiz?
Yes.
Commissioner Hoffman?
Yes.
Mr. Chair, you have 16 yeas, 0 nays.
Sufficient number voting in the affirmative, the resolution is adopted. Those are the only items under new and miscellaneous business. That will bring us to announcements. And the first announcement, I'm going to ask first announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to point out to every members of the commission as well as anybody else who's listening that Scott Guzzi who's an administrator in the purchasing department that many of us have worked with many times, he is entering into retirement on May 23rd. He's been a dedicated servant of Oakland County for over 32 years. So if you can, please reach out to him and tell him how much you appreciate his service and wish him well. Thank you.
Yes, for those who had the opportunity to work with Scott Guzzi, running purchasing, working in Oakland County for many years, but particularly over almost my entire time here in Oakland County overseeing purchasing, he's been an incredible asset to put the best practices and process the support departments in purchasing goods and services to run county government. Commissioner Powell.
I just want to announce that we will be hosting Juneteenth, well, not the commissioners, but the county will have its own Juneteenth celebration here on the county grounds at the South Courthouse entrance parking lot on June 12th at 11 a.m. So please, community members, come out and join us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other announcements? Seeing none, this will bring us to our second public comment. And this is the opportunity I mentioned at the top of the meeting for members of the public to speak on items on the agenda or off the agenda. I got a couple people here, and then if Charlie, Commissioner Cavell, can you? Is there another sign-up sheet that people filled out? Yes. Yep. That's Kelly. Yes. So Kelly. Okay, it's blank. Okay, that's blank, but I got Kelly here. So Kelly, welcome.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Kelly Heyer, and I'm the Executive Director for West Bloomfield Parks and Recreation Commission. Thank you for the opportunity to make a public comment this evening. I've been a lifelong resident of Oakland County, besides my months and years at Michigan State University. I'm here to give thanks to Oakland County and to share a few updates about our West Bloomfield's August 6th bond proposal. So first, some gratitude. Thank you for the resources you provide CVTs. We're really proud of recipient of the Oakland Together grant funds, which we've spent at our Senior Center Connect. Thank you for sending us 2 representatives monthly to our Senior Advisory Committee from the Executive Office, Senior Advisory Council, Cam McClure and Sylvia Whitmer, amazing individuals. Thank you for our other county resources. We are also a recipient of the Oakland County Parks grant to build a permanent restroom off the West Bloomfield Trail, which you know traverses across the county as well as lake to lake across the state of Michigan. We're also grateful for the access to training programs to our staff. And most recently, we did collaborate and hosted the Oakland County Veterans Fair in West Bloomfield. But now for a quick update on West Bloomfield Parks. On August 6th, we are asking West Bloomfield voters to consider a 20-year, $25 million bond proposal that, if approved by voters, will provide critical support for creating a healthier community through expanded recreation programming for all ages, as well as enhanced park amenities. The proposed bond would provide the community with an expanded multi-generational Connect Community Center built on the West Bloomfield Civic Center campus. The new center will feature a wider variety of recreation programs than what's currently offered, as well as expanded nature education opportunities, a dedicated lounge space for seniors, rentable meeting and event space, including a gymnasium and indoor walking track, and more. The proposed center would be an expansion of the current Recreation Activity Center, which is 9,000 square feet. Once completed, the facility will be 34,000 square feet. The bond would also enable West Bloomfield Parks to make needed improvements to our other parks within the township. These capital improvements would include the new playgrounds at Pine Lake Park, Bloomer Park, Marshbank Park, and replacement of the paved walking trail at Marshbank, and expanded pickleball, I heard that, at Drake Sports Park. So if approved, the West Bloomfield resident whose home has a taxable value of $100,000 will be assessed approximately $35 annually. If approved, work on the new Connect Community Center would begin in early 2025. If you have questions, go to wbparks.org/bonds, or you can attend some of our public meetings upcoming on May 30th at 10 a.m. or a virtual meeting on June 20th at 6 p.m. Thank you for your time and service.
Thank you very much. Next up, I got Catherine Kennedy.
Thank you. Catherine Kennedy from Lake Orion. I thought I'd start with a positive one this time and a thank you. Kristen, actually the support of this board to sponsor Senate Bill 669 and 670 to expand the application of the Freedom of Information Act to the Michigan legislature, the governor, and the lieutenant governor. This is so critical. We have no accountability. When we ask questions, we don't get answers. And this is something I've had a problem with, not only at the state level, but also the county level and my township level. So it really frustrates me when we have last-minute documents or 45 proposals in a single meeting that are all consent agenda, which means most of the citizens have no idea how you just spent all those millions of dollars. And we are in a situation and a level at our country where we are in very precarious position financially. And our identity is being stolen quite consistently. So when the governor has this executive order that is directing not only all these agencies to become registration agents, but they're specifically requesting you use QR codes. QR codes were patented in 1994 by Japanese firm Denso Wave for inventory management. I'm not inventory. They were designed for data capture and tracking. I don't want to be tracked. Yet, since the pandemic, that's one of the things I see everywhere. QR code for everything. Our water, our utilities are trying to push us to that. And all the digital thermostats, those are probably foreign owned. The drones, a lot of the stuff that we're doing that should be our safety, we don't have control of. And there's a whole group, the World Economic Forum and the UN and these other countries, that are literally working against us in real time. This is real-time history. And we have placed ourselves in a very poor economic situation by overspending, and the federal government has not spent within its budget since 2001. How many people actually realize that? That the federal government has spent more than what their revenue was since 2001. How is that possible? If you and I do that, guess what? We lose our homes. 187,000 Michiganders last year lost their homes. So this is not something that we should take lightly, to add this extra cost burden at the county level, as well as the local level, as well as the federal level, as well as the state level. We are not being accountable to citizens, And bottom line is the citizens pay for it all. We should not be giving a dime to non-residents. And the Michigan Clean Slate Act, and this might be the most important, needs to be
Ms.
modified
Kennedy,
to stop
your time is up.
non-citizens from getting their crimes expunged to take our jobs. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Kennedy. Next up, I promised, Ms. Maloney, would you like to continue? Part two, are you sure? It's all yours. All right. Anybody else? Ms. Jackson.
Hello again. This issue is about Meals on Wheels. I don't know if it is actually, I believe, Oakland County, but the Meals on Wheels program in Oakland County is sorely deficit on, I'm going to say, edibility for the seniors. And I know this personally because my father, who is 77 years old, lives with me in my home. And while I go out and I work, he gets Meals on Wheels because it's a good way for him to get food while I'm not there. I also provide other lunch services in case he does not want the Meals on Wheels. And there is a charge of $61, I believe it per month for Meals on Wheels, or maybe every 2 months. But half of the meals have been, as I said, inedible. It was meat we couldn't identify. He said, well, Wendy, what is this? He picked it up with his fork. I said, well, I'm not sure. Maybe it's veal. And I bring this up to your attention because Wayne County Meals on Wheels gets rave reviews. So my patients that I see, as you know, I'm a physician, and you may not know, but I'm a physician. I do house calls on the seniors in Wayne County and all over Michigan. They rave about it. But my problem is with the Oakland County Meals on Wheels that my father is in a good position because he actually has me to provide other meals. But my problem with that is that seniors who don't have a daughter or someone who can provide other meals, they're stuck with something that may be subpar. And I do ask him every day, I said, how is the food? And I'm going to tell you, over half the time, he says it's inedible. And I think whoever's in charge of that program needs to either get a better cook to provide better meals. However, the people who transport the food, they're wonderful, they're friendly, they're kind, they take care of everything. It's just the quality of the food that I'm concerned for, that all our seniors deserve to eat a good meal if they don't have any other choices. And I know it's affordable, but it still needs to be edible and to be pleasing for our seniors. So thank you. I just wanted to give that to your attention. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anybody else to speak during public comment? Any topic? Going once, twice? Okay, seeing none, I will close the second public comment. And I will bring us to the end of the meeting where we will stand adjourned until June 13th, 2024, or call the chair. Good night, be safe, everybody.